Drop something. Can I not edit my bio on the... Can I not edit my bio on the website anymore? Oh wow. Well, okay, hold on a second, because I'm using my phone as a webcam, so just gonna... My bio is changed, is accessible, and then I'm going to be sharing on Instagram. AP worl strem live now, link in bio. And there. Okay. And then I can use this as a webcam once more. Not connect. What do you mean? What do you mean not connected? I'm connected. Am I not? Oh wow. That's... Don't look at my room, it's messy. Okay, does that work? Alright, we're good. We're good? We're good, we're good. Alright, anyway, so hello everyone, welcome. I actually don't know who's on the stream right now. Oh wait, okay. This. But yeah, hello everybody. I think like right now no one. I need to check. Music seems to be okay. Alright. So until I see some people in chat, I'm just gonna be going over some Khan Academy. I'm going to be doing some Khan Academy AP World studying. I already did this one before, but so we're gonna go to the Neolithic Revolution.
This timeline here covers 200,000 years, from 200,000 years into the past to the present. And just to get a sense of the scale of this, if we were to go 2,000 years ago to the time of the Roman Empire, that would be roughly here on the timeline. If I were to say, when were the pyramids built? That would be roughly there on the timeline. So by human standards, this is a very long period of time. And I didn't choose this time span arbitrarily. 200,000 years is about how long we believe anatomically modern humans have been on our planet, our subspecies of Homo sapiens sapiens. Now, the reason why I show these stone tools...
I think that's kind of weird. Why they call it Homo sapiens sapiens? Like, just say Homo sapiens. Why do you add the extra sapiens? Is Homo sapiens a like entire new type of species? So yeah, what does that make us right now? Are we Homo sapiens? Or are we Homo sapiens sapiens? Or are we still caveman people?
Is because the ages, the periods of modern humanity, or even pre-modern humanity, are named after the types of tools that have been found in archaeological digs. So most of even pre-human or near pre-human and human history has been the Paleolithic period, or Old Stone Age. Paleo for old, lithic coming from lithos for stone. So Paleolithic. The Old Stone Age is the great bulk of human history. And there's also a Mesolithic that comes about 20,000 years ago. But then around 10,000 years ago, the stones have a much more polished appearance to them, things like this. And so that period from about 10,000 years, starting with about 15,000 years ago, depending what part of the world you look at, is referred to as a Neolithic period. Neolithic, referring to new stone. And on top of this timeline, I have also shown what's happening at a very large scale climactically on the Earth. So these blue periods are ice ages, and these reddish-orange periods are the periods in between ice ages. And so you can see the last ice age ended roughly 15,000 years ago, and it began roughly 110,000 years ago. Now, I'm giving you all this context about these Paleolithic, Neolithic, and the ice ages because we're going to talk about probably the most important series of events or innovation in all of human history. And that is agriculture.
Agriculture is very
for most of human history, over this
very early stages of
period,
humanity,
over most of this timeline, going up until about 10 or 15,000 years ago, our ancestors were hunter-gatherers. They would have to chase the game wherever it might be. They couldn't settle down in one place. Maybe there were a few that were near some sources of fish where they might be able to do some basic fishing, but they would have done hunting like this. They would have done gathering, which means getting berries or mushrooms where they could find it. It probably was eating a lot of things like insects, and that is most of human history. But then around 10 or 15,000 years ago, we have the advent of human beings taking nature into their own hands. Instead of saying, let's just follow the game wherever the game might migrate to, let's actually domesticate these animals. Let's take some of them, start breeding them so they're more suitable for human consumption, so that they are easier to raise, maybe more robust, and we will breed them and we will raise them for milk, for meat. We also started to domesticate plants. Instead of saying, okay, let's just gather those berries there where it happens to emerge, let's actually start to plant things.
I'm just saying domesticating plants, like you're harnessing them to harvest. Like, okay, back in like 1000s to present, we domesticated horses and camels so that, for trade, diplomatic situations, well, mostly trade pretty much, and of course convenience, because back then we did not have trains, we did not have any cars, so we relied on horses, and they were fast in some geographical areas such as the Asian steppes. But yeah, so I guess imagine harnessing plants to trade for us.
And on a very predictable way, be able to harvest them and so have a more predictable food supply. Both of these things allow human beings to have a higher population density, to start to settle down, to have a more sedentary life. And this is a huge, huge, huge deal. Just to get a sense, we believe that the carrying capacity for the planet, for human beings as hunter-gatherers, is 10 million people. And that is what we estimate the world population was at around the time of the last ice age, or shortly afterwards. And that's because a tribe of 100 hunter-gatherers is going to need
BP stands
50
for BCE,
square kilometers to 100
FYI.
square kilometers to hunt and gather from. Or actually 500 were some of the estimates I've seen. And it might seem like a lot of area that you would need to hunt and gather from. But imagine if you and your family had to go live in the woods now. How much food could you actually find? You would have to walk miles and miles per day if you're trying to hunt. You would have to walk miles and miles per day to get whatever wild grains or berries or whatever, or mushrooms or whatever, or insects that you might consume. But then with the advent of agriculture, it allowed for a much, much higher density population. In fact, going from the birth of agriculture, which happens in the Neolithic period, the dawn of agriculture coincides with the Neolithic period. They're often used somewhat interchangeably. Going from that period 10, 15,000 years ago to the time of ancient Rome, so we're talking on the order of 10,000 years, the world population with agriculture exploded from 10 million to roughly 250 million. And that's 25x. And we know that from the time of Rome till now, another 2,000 years with agriculture, our population has gone up 28x. It's growing exponentially to 7 billion. And there's no way that we could have had this level of density without agriculture. Now, a key question is why did agriculture emerge right then?
Well,
one theory is, well, it seems to be only, and I put only, I'll say only in quotes, only a few thousand years after the end of the Ice Age. Maybe you had positive climate change, at least from a human point of view, that allowed land to be to support agriculture. That seems like a reasonable theory. Although you might say, well, we've had other periods where we didn't have an ice age. How can we see no evidence of agriculture then? And one counter-argument or explanation I've heard for that is anatomically modern humans started to emerge around 200,000 years ago, but that doesn't mean that the way they thought or that their brains were the same as modern humans. And so maybe in this period, the human brain just wasn't capable of performing or thinking of agriculture. Other theories is that the human population through hunter-gathering kept increasing over time, and it was right after the last ice age that you really got close to this critical mass of population, at which point, for every extra human to be born, well, another human would not be able to live or not be able to born, because there was a fixed supply of food as hunter-gatherers. And so you could say out of necessity, maybe a tribe here or a little group there started to say, hey, well, what if we started to domesticate some of this cattle, or if we started to plant crops, all of a sudden they would start to have a higher density and their population could increase. And not only would they be able to survive, but they could also be very dominant in things like conflict. Once you start having agriculture, and as agriculture advances, as I mentioned, these people could be more sedentary. They wouldn't have to move around. They wouldn't have to move around all of the time. That allows them to create even defensive structures. You could have specialization, where not everyone is having to worry about specialization. Not everyone is having to worry about food all of the time. And so you could develop warriors. You could have technology developing, especially weapons. And so not only would that tribe or that group be able to get higher density, but they would be able to defend their property. In fact, they would probably care a lot more about property because they use it to farm, versus hunter-gatherers might just view that as their territory that they wander over in order to find food. Now, whatever the actual cause of the birth of agriculture, it has had profound implications on our society. You would not have had the birth of city-states without agriculture. City-states had high-density populations. They could not have been supported with hunter-gathering. You could not have had the development of technology, which people needed more time. You needed specialization in order to have that. It's, I would say, fair to say, we wouldn't even have our modern civilization would not have been possible without agriculture. I would not be making this video to you right now. In fact, most of us wouldn't have even been around on the planet because the planet wouldn't have been able to support our really immensely large population without not only agriculture, but an ever advancing
There's something I need to
technological
show you guys,
or technologically advancing
my class,
agriculture. So it might seem like a small thing. You go from hunter-gatherer to agriculture, but it's been one of the most, maybe the most profound. Well, it's probably up there with language and writing. Things that have defined what makes humans humans. And to get a sense of where this agriculture was born, here's the various regions that we believe agriculture emerged from. The Levant, right over here in the Eastern Mediterranean, modern-day Middle East, Syria, Israel, Palestine, Iraq, southeastern Turkey. This is one of the areas where we think agriculture first emerged, on the order of 10 to 15,000 years ago. We believe rice came from China. I've seen estimates anywhere from 6 to 13,000 years ago. You have the potato and other crops coming from the Andes thousands of years ago. And this is just a sample of the areas where we see agriculture, both domestication of crops and animals, first emerging. And what's interesting is, over time, we're likely to discover other places as we have more archaeological digs and we find more fossil evidence of ancient agriculture and ancient peoples. And even the time frame where we believe this happened, the 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 years ago, that's likely to maybe move back a little bit as we discover older and older evidence. So I'll leave you there, but the big takeaway is most of human history, we were not only making rough stones for our weapons and our tools, but we were chasing animals wherever we could find it. We didn't have predictable food sources. We were gathering fruits and grains and insects wherever we could to support our families, and there was a limit on how many humans could be around. But shortly after the end of the Ice Age, it all changed. You had a population explosion, and we think that is due to agriculture.
Oh yeah, I got my energy points. Alright, so I think the main... Okay, so what I wanted to add, so it kind of looks like a one scene Sykkuno thing. Because I can put scenes up, but I haven't set any of them up. So because streaming is like something that I'm still not very used to. So yeah. Anyway, so here it is. I don't know. It's because I'm looking at it right now. So is it backwards? I could have sworn I didn't. Okay, let's try that. So, the very first notes in my class. So the context and AB questions. We want to find out. Okay, I didn't write it down, but we want to find out before civilizations, such as like the series of events that led to the development and the establishment of new civilizations, kingdoms, and empires, and then during like the most important achievements, such as the Pax Romana, the Pax Mongolia, the two eras of peace. Romana, of course, being in Rome, and I believe the Mongolia is from, well, the Mongols. So yeah, and then of course basic development, hunting and foraging. That was the beginning, and then agriculture and the rise of agriculture led to complex societies. This is around the 3,500 to 5,000 BCE. I also wrote intro to sexism because you have to. I think this is a form of historical thinking. If a man dies, then that's just one member gone of the tribe or the group. But if a woman dies, then that's an entire generation of kids because the woman has to give birth. I know that sexism is still a very, very sensitive thing, especially right now. But this is just history, so in a way history is just repeating itself. sexism kind of happened before, and now it's happening again. Well, I'm glad that we're doing our best to suppress sexism and other parts of prejudice against race, religion, and whatnot. Me being a Christian myself, well, I haven't experienced any forms of religious prejudice, and I think I am very fortunate because other people like in China will probably not be the same thing because the communist regime and whatnot. But yeah. Anyway, back to the notes. Anyway, again, if a woman dies, no more kids. A big gigantic generation because they need to populate. And of course, with the rise of agriculture becomes sorry, let me rephrase that again. The rise of the rise of agriculture leads to an increase in surplus food. That surplus food can feed more people, so we have a more population growth. And again, hunter-gatherers are... So we are complex human beings, and we adapt to our situations both mentally and physically. Otherwise, I wouldn't have some features. I don't want to say anything. So hunter-gatherers were healthier. They were born like this, so they were healthier. They have a lot of free time, so they wouldn't have to do any AP testing, and they have the most freedom because they have free time. Once the transition to becoming an agriculturalist, we have more efficient. We're more efficient now because now we're stationary. We don't have to move from place to place and hunt and gather and forage. We have more surplus foods and we have more organization, which will also lead to the establishment of complex societies and civilizations. So yeah. Don't have agriculture. Should we go over this one? I think it's pretty much it, right? Spread of agriculture.
Hey Rosie.
Hey David.
So as you know, I am a bit of a foodie.
Who are those two?
And you know what foodies love more than anything?
Food?
Well, yeah, but road trips.
They do?
Cool, yes.
So what I would like to do is go on a road trip and follow the origins of agriculture.
Oh, I realized I
don't know, 11,000 years ago.
Alright, here you go.
Hey Rosie.
Hey David.
So as you know, I am a bit of a foodie.
I can't full screen.
And you know what foodies love more than anything?
Food?
Well, yeah, but road trips.
Cool, yes.
So what I would like to do is go on a road trip and follow the origins of agriculture, starting about, 11,000 years ago, to bring us into the era of history. So we're going from this
I don't think it's that
Neolithic...
important. I'm already bored. Alright, let's do these questions. So I think, yeah, it looks very similar to the AP Roll questions. You're going to be given multiple choice questions. You're going to be given a stimulus, and you're going to just answer. Honestly, I hate the multiple choice questions. I honestly just can't get them, so I hope I won't have trouble with that. The SAQ, the LEQ, and the DBQ, I'm fine with that. It's the multiple choice questions that's going to determine my score. And I'm pretty sure that's confident enough too. It counts for like 40% of the entire test, so yeah. Alright. Anyway, read the passage below and answer the question. I don't know if this is going to be part of the passage or not. Civilized life is a secure life. At the most basic level, this means security from the sudden destruction that village communities might suffer. Civilized life gives the feeling of permanence. Okay, we watched that before. It offers regularity, stability, order, even routine. Plans can be made, expectations can be realized, people can be expected to act predictably, according to the rules. The first cities were able to attain stability with walls that shielded the inhabitants from nomads and armies, with the first codes of law that defined human relationships, with police and officials that enforced the laws, and with institutions that function beyond the lives of particular members. City life offered considerably more permanence and security than village life. And then the caption, which is also very, very important, I'm speaking from experience. From Kevin Riley, The West and the Worst, A History of Civilization, written in 1989. Okay. Which of the following periods would correspond least to author's description? So, okay, we're gonna watch a Heimler's history video, but I've been watching a little bit. We've been watching a little bit. I watched a little bit before that. The strategy is there's always going to be two distractions. So I'm guessing C and D are distractions because those are way after. Then we have the Paleolithic and the Neolithic. I think it's pretty obvious what it is, given the section. So I'm just gonna take a guess. I'm just gonna say it's Neolithic. Paleolithic's probably before, right? Told you I suck at these. Okay, I need to ignore this thing. This is not relevant right now. What the? Okay. You got two passages. The agricultural revolution enlarged the total of food at the disposal of humankind. The extra food did not translate into a better diet or more leisure. Rather, it translated to population explosions and elites. The farmer worked harder than the forager and got a worse diet in return. From okay. So I think what you can do is like maybe summarize in like a few short words. So the agricultural revolution increased the amount of food, but it did not make a better diet or did not increase the comfort of others. Instead, it translates to human. It led to the population growth, so that means more space. And pampered elites, so I'm guessing pampered like corrupt, because pampered people are like, they're kind of spoiled. And the farmer will still work harder than the forager and got a worse diet in return. Oh, bless me. I'm just kidding. Average farmer worked harder than the average forager and got a worse diet in return. So that, I'm guessing that life as a farmer is not as different as being a forager. In fact, it actually could be worse. So maybe this author, Yuval Noah Harari, is taking a standpoint against how being a farmer would cause a, I don't know, it would be better than being a forager. Let me blow my nose a second. it. Alright, anyway. In the 1930s, the Australian archaeologist V. Gordon, okay, whatever, proposed this suite of changes called the Neolithic Revolution. Archaeologists first used the term Neolithic to describe distinctive polished stone tools that appeared from about 10,000 years ago. But Child insisted that the real significance of this period lay in something more revolutionary, the emergence of agriculture. Pretty important. Agriculture laid the foundations for all the important developments of later human history. Today, many prehistorians resist Child's term because they know that when examined closely, that changes turn out to have been gradual. It's still significant. Contemporaries could hardly have known that they were living through a revolution. Nevertheless, Child's notion of a Neolithic or agrarian revolution deserves to survive. For on the scale of human history as a whole, the changes were both rapid and revolutionary. During a mere 7,500 years, between 11,500 and 4,000 years old, agricultural communities with domesticated plants and animals appeared in at least 3 quite separate regions of the world, and perhaps as many as 7. That was pretty lengthy. Okay, here we go. Which of the following arguments regarding the relationship between polished stone tools and the emergence of agriculture is the most defensible? Number A. Number A. The emergence of polished stone tools that caused the emergence of agriculture. Okay. Okay, first things first. It says that prehistorians resist Child's term because they know that when examined closely, the changes turn out to be gradual, and that archaeologists use the term Neolithic to describe polished stone tools. So, might not be A. Don't really think so. But we can come back to it because it's semi-true, I guess. Yeah. B. The emergence of agriculture caused the emergence of polished stone tools. Okay, I think that's just the obviously wrong answer. The emergence of polished stone tools in agriculture were probably related, but whether one caused the other is unclear. I really should go to sleep, but you know, we want to stream. Jeez. The emergence of polished stone tools was unrelated to the emergence of agriculture. Okay, what came first? Okay. So what I'm thinking is um so it says which of the following arguments regarding the relationship between polished and stone tools and the emergence of agriculture is the most defensible? So that means that you need to find out what is the standpoint of the author David Christian. And I think his standpoint is that he thinks that maybe agriculture is more important and should define the most revolutionary part of the Neolithic revolution, because he defends the person who came up with the notion that agriculture is more revolutionary than stones. See, look, like right here, Charles' notion see, look. Child's notion of a Neolithic or agrarian revolution deserves to survive, for on the scale of human history as a whole, the changes were both rapid and revolutionary. So this guy is pro-child, so I think we can take out A. Might be B, don't know. Actually might be B. He takes a strong stance to it. So C, the emergence of polished stone tools were probably related. Whether one caused the other is unclear. That's also true, I'm not entirely sure. He is pro-agriculture, or he's pro-agriculture, but he's not like, oh, this is right. So he's like, yeah, it could be B or C. They're very, very similar. And then you have D, the emergence of polished stone tools was unrelated. Okay, yeah, that's also distracting. Or not a wrong answer, obviously. So, you have B or C. And remember, you got to speed up by right now because I have all the time in the world. I'm just taking my time, but you will have to speed up your thinking because you're not gonna have this long to take the questions. So B, the emergence of agriculture caused the emergence of polished stone tools, or C, the emergence of polished stone tools and agriculture were probably related, but whether one caused the other is unclear. So, like I said, he's very, very pro-child, so I'm leaning towards B. But again, it doesn't specifically say whether what caused the other, so it might be C as well. So, Neolithic, and insisted that the significance is actually agriculture. Which laid the foundations for all the developments of a history. And then people resist Child's term because they know that when examined closely, the changes turn out to be gradual. You know what, I'm going with C. That's how you do it. Yeah, while there is no clear causal relationship between the emergence of polystone tools and agriculture, the appearance around the same time indicates some sort of relationship between them. So actually, oh okay, I see. So it's not the second one because the emergence of both agriculture and polystone tools seem to have occurred around the same time. Okay, so this is basically about historical knowledge. I hate those. My nose is so stuffy. Just sleep here and just keep this stream on. Hopefully, you guys not. But with my snoring.